Greetings, YouTubers. Old Man Winter has finally arrived. Yep, 20 degrees and 4 inches of snow, and pretty cold out here, but it's going to be a lot colder. It's going to be below zero, and got the old Expedition all ready for winter, and I was all happy. And of course, there's always something that goes wrong when it gets cold. And my issue right now is, and this may be this may actually help you out if you have the Expedition or even the Ford Explorer. My problem is right now, when I go to fill up my reservoir, and you got to have the reservoir because of the ice and snow that gets built up on the window. If you're following behind somebody, you know how that is in the Northeast with all that ice and snow and salt. I filled up my reservoir, and the thing is bone dry. Don't know what happened to it. And it was good the other day before, well, about a week ago. I filled it up, and I couldn't see no leaks. And the other day, I came out before it started snowing, and I noticed water dripping down here on the bottom. And I put some more fluid back in it, windshield washer, and it's gone completely now. So I got a sneaky suspicious feeling, I should say, as my face becomes numb, that I found my issue. What led to this was my radio quit working. The antenna for the radio comes all the way back here, and there's an antenna in this glass right here. And I could not pick up any FM or AM stations. It just died. Although I could play my music on my phone via Bluetooth and all that. So I took this panel off, started tracing this wire, this orange wire right here, which is your antenna wire. And there's a connector right here, and you can see that connector is all corroded up. And I pulled it apart, tried to clean it. But as I pulled it apart, I ended up pulling the other part out, which is right here. It's all corroded, and it's broken inside. So the other part's right here. I've got it kind of taped, just, you know, I got it fixed right now just to get me by. But as I got it here and I started looking at this, I realized this was all wet in here, and I couldn't figure out where the water was coming from, why it was so wet. And that's the problem we have here with this corrosion. Anytime moisture gets on metal like this, rust or whatever, you get corrosion. So that led to the other issue. I was trying to figure out why I didn't have any washer fluid, why it was leaking out. And it turns out, if I shine my light back in here, there is a little place that comes out of the firewall right here where my hand is. See this right here? This is the tube that runs to the back windshield washer, and what happened, it's been disconnected, and all my washer fluid drained out. And for some reason, I guess if you put your foot up here on the corner of this carpet hard enough, push down on it, one of your passengers do happen to do that, this will pull this apart for some reason. It's very tight, so what you have to do is reconnect this right here. I get that back in there, and I'm trying to pull some slack out of this to loosen it up, but I can't. It's just so tight right here. So what I may have to do is go ahead and get another piece of tubing and make this a little less tight, if you will. Give it some slack, but I can't even put this in here, put it back together, because I can't push up on it. Ugh, it's so tight. So this is where my windshield washer fluid was going. And it was running down along this channel and dripping out underneath. And of course, now I've got to deal with this radio antenna, but I've got it fixed just temporarily for now until the weather warms up. So if you're having any problems losing your windshield washer fluid, you might want to check that right there. Now I should probably back up just a step. Now in order to get in there and do all this, you got to kind of pop this panel off right here. It's just some clips, this little cover. Then you pull your rubber stripping back like this, and you can pop this panel off right here, and this will allow you all this room to get in here. And there's a bunch of other wires there, so you got to be careful when you're in there. I'm hoping the water, the windshield fluid, didn't get anything wet, but it seems to be fairly dry, although it's a little wet down here. But if you're losing your windshield washer fluid and you can't figure out where it's going, check that hose right there. For some reason, that's just kind of a bad design, and I would have thought this hose would have ran underneath the vehicle going to the back. And no matter what you do, if you fill this windshield washer container up, it's going to drain it bone dry. And this operates the front and the rear windshield. Washer, just so you know. So I'm happy about that. So all I have to do is reconnect that and go get some fluid. Put it back in there so my windshield wipers will work, because spring is nowhere in sight, kids. Just so you know. So my tip for the day, if you have an Expedition or a Ford Explorer and you're losing your windshield washer fluid. So there you go. All right, I guess I'll head out and play in the snow. At least I'll tell you what, these four-wheel drives, these Expeditions are great in the snow. They weigh almost 5,000 pounds, and this has got a 4.6. And the snow last night we had was, you know, coming down pretty good, and I had no issue whatsoever. Of course, this is my second winter I've had this, so great looking vehicle, and it runs pretty good. So I'll just kind of throw that tip to you today. And if you're heading out in the Northeast, if you're anywhere in the northern part of the country, you know it's pretty cold. So hopefully I'll have my squirters on my windshield here working soon, so I can get the ice and snow off when I'm driving. All right, talk to y'all later. Keep warm, as my fingers are getting a little numb out here.